You are driving a car left to right, and you want other cars to come from opposite direction. Which of the following code block could be used for a car coming from right side of the stage?
Good thinking. 1 is the right answer.
This involves the initiation of script execution based on the occurrence of predefined events, such as the pressing of keyboard keys, the pressing of the green flag button, or the receipt of a synchronization message.
Great job. Event handling is the accurate answer.
This involves the repeated execution of code blocks to process large amounts of information, or to control the repeated execution of code blocks required to direct the execution of a game or application.
Correct response. Iterative processing is the most accurate answer.
Leo is writing a digital pet program in Scratch. What is Leo using here to store how thirsty his pet is?
Strong choice. A variable is the right answer.
When using join blocks, Scratch will automatically add a space between hello and Cam students.
Right again. False is a valid answer.
Choose the word that best matches this definition, assigning starting characteristics to all of the elements in your program.
On track. Initialization is the correct answer.
When using an ask block, the Scratch program automatically stores the user's answer.
Correct. True is the right answer. Repeating a statement more than once or until a condition is met is called a dash. Good job. Your answer loop works well here. A script is made up of blocks with instructions that tells the sprite what to do. Nice selection. True is the correct and valid answer.
Looking at the script block below, what is the ghost's starting position?
Excellent is a brilliant choice.
According to the image, the order of the elements in Scratch are dash.
Great thinking. 1, stage 2, sprites 3, blocks 4. Scripts is the right choice.
To change the appearance of a sprite, we can give it a different dash.
Nice work. You chose costume, and it is correct.
How many times would this code need to repeat to make a full circle?
You got it. Your choice 360 is right.
This involves the processing of application code blocks in the order that they are laid about, starting at the beginning of a script and continuing to the end.
Nicely done. Sequential processing is a solid answer. A statement which can either be true or false is known as a dash. Well picked. Boolean is the correct answer.
To move sprites, changes angles and position, we should use dash.
Exactly. Motion makes sense, and it is right choice.
This involves the organization of commonly used pieces of program code into callable units, allowing for reduced program size and better program organization.
There. Smart pick. Procedural programming is the correct choice.
What happens when the green flag is clicked in Scratch program?
You're right. The program starts is the correct answer.
The instructions used to control sprite in Scratch is called.
Right choice. Script is the best answer.
If you touched sprite 2 7 times, what would your score be?
Well done. Sen is the right choice.
What kind of block do I use to make my sprite move around?
Sharp thinking. Motion is the right choice.
When you create a game in Scratch, you can keep the score in.
Well reasoned. Variable is the correct choice.
With Scratch, you can program your own interactive stories.
Bravo. Yes is the answer. For an action to perform in Scratch, it needs first dash. You chose an event block, and it is correct. What block will you use to have the sprite say something? Perfect. Looks is the correct choice.
This involves the application of programming logic that executes based on the analysis of true-false data provided by Scratch during program execution.
Excellent choice. Boolean logic is the right answer. What you will use to change the location of the Scratch?
Clear logic. Your choice coordinates is sound and 100% true.
Will the sprite move from its position after this code? Smart move. No is an accurate answer. Which of these blocks can be identified as iteration? Solid response. Forever is a valid choice. What is being created in the Scratch code shown here? Valid point. A function is true. This involves the passage and receipt of messages between application scripts for coordinating the execution of different parts of an application. Excellent. Program synchronization is a brilliant choice. Which categories does this command blocks belong? Prevents is the answer. What would the sprite say if the test is set to 10? Great job. I like chocolate is the accurate answer. How many categories of block do we have in Scratch? Right choice. 9 is the best answer. This involves the development of user-friendly and intuitive application stage layout, making it easy for users to interact with applications. On track. Interface design is the correct answer.
If Jenny is 13, which message will be broadcast?
Well picked. Message 1 is the correct answer. In Scratch, these characters are called dash. Right again. Sprites is a valid answer.
These blocks are different examples of what?
Good thinking. Controls is the right answer.
What programming concept is being shown here?
Smart pick. Sequencing is the correct choice. We can control the visuals of the sprite by. Excellent choice. Looks is the right answer. The cat in Scratch is an example of a dash. Nice work. You chose sprite and it is correct.
It is the area where your program will run.
Valid point. Stage is true.
Which option lets you move to the right?
Well done. Change X by 10 is the right choice. What is the value stored in total marbles?
Your answer 325 works well here.
What would this block do to the sprite?
Strong choice. Move the sprite up is the right answer.
We can create variables in Scratch from. Sharp thinking. Data is the right choice. You can draw on the canvas by using.
Well reasoned. Pin is the correct choice. Scratch help to think creatively. Smart move, yes, is an accurate answer. Choose the word that best matches this definition. The language that programmers create and use to tell a computer what to do. Exactly. Code makes sense, and it is right choice. A series of steps for a task. Nice selection. Sequence is the correct and valid answer. We use dash for event handlers. Correct response. Event is the most accurate answer. Choose the word that best matches this definition. The set of all code blocks you can use in Scratch, organized by category. You're right. Block categories is the correct answer. Identify the tool. You chose grow, and it is correct.
Choose the word that best matches this definition. The area in the interface where all scripts are placed. Great thinking. Scripting area is the right choice.
True or false? The blocks don't need to be joined. As long as they are on the script area, they will run. You got it. Your choice false is right. Choose the word that best matches this definition. The programmable background of a Scratch project. Perfect. Stage is the correct choice. The lines on a coordinate plane are perpendicular. Perpendicular lines forms what type of angles? Correct. Right is the right answer. A good game needs 4 things. It needs a character, a set amount of time, a scorekeeper, and dash. Clear logic. Your choice purpose is sound and 100% true. It is the area which has all the blocks that you can use to piece together on the code screen. Nicely done. Block palette is a solid answer. Sensing blocks are used to tell the sprite what to do when touching something on the stage. Solid response. True is a valid choice.
The block changes the specified graphic effect on its sprite by the specified amount.
Nicely done. Change effect by is a solid answer. It is possible to add maths into Scratch. What is the Scratch keyword used for it? Solid response. Operators is a valid choice. A message sent through the Scratch program, activating. When I receive, blocks. Right again. Broadcast is a valid answer. This involves the use of sprites as the basis for developing graphical programs. Excellent choice. Sprite programming is the right answer. This involves the creation of different types of computer application projects. Correct response. Application and game development is the most accurate answer. True or false? The repeat block isn't used to repeat what code it has inside it. Valid point. False is true. To make character pause or slow in Scratch, control that is added to script is. Well picked. Wait is the correct answer. How far is the point described by the ordered pair from the x-axis? Smart move, 4 units, is an accurate answer.
Items can be added to or deleted from a list manually or by programming.
Good thinking. True is the right answer. Which of the following statements best describes the term programming? Excellent. A set of instructions is a brilliant choice. When fixing an error in a computer program, What is this process called? Exactly. Debugging makes sense and it is right choice. It is possible to add maths into Scratch. What color blocks are these?
Right choice. Green is the best answer.
What category of blocks in Scratch is used to control the program flow?
Strong choice. Control is the right answer.
A program is a set of instructions that tells the computer what to do.
Bravo. True is the answer.
Dash is writing a line of instructions within a programming language.
Clear logic. Your choice coding or programming is sound and 100% true.
If your sprite is at the coordinate 6 or 0, where on the screen is it? Perfect. Dead center is the correct choice. What programming concepts are used by Scratch to create animation?
Sharp thinking. Block-based programming is the right choice.
Which block of code is used to make the character change costume? You're right. Looks is the correct answer. Which of the following is a type of repetition block in Scratch?
Great job. Repeat is the accurate answer.
In order to create a script, you must have 2 or more of these.
Correct. Commands is the right answer.
Where do you find the images of backdrops to insert in Scratch? You chose backdrop, and it is correct. Data can be stored in a Scratch program. What is data saved in? Nice work. You chose variable and it is correct. What is the keyword used for when code is repeated or looped?
Great thinking. Iteration is the right choice.
It is the area where you place blocks together to write code. On track. Script area is the correct answer. What is the name of our programming language we are using? Well done. Scratch is the right choice. In Scratch, how can you change the appearance of a sprite? Good job. Your answer using appearance blocks works well here. The block sets its sprite size to the specified amount.
Well reasoned. Set size to is the correct choice.
Which item below is found in the background of the stage?
Nice selection. Backdrop is the correct and valid answer.
Blocks that allows you to repeat scripts multiple times. You got it? Your choice repeating blocks is right. Step-by-step instructions to do something is called dash. Smart pick. Algorithm is the correct choice. To check how many items the list contains, you can use right again. Length is a valid answer. You cannot replace an item in a list with a new item. Strong choice. False is the right answer. Which code block allows Scratch to draw on the stage? Right choice. Pen down is the best answer. We can make the sprite disappear by using dash block. You're right. Hide is the correct answer. What is another name for your background in Scratch? Valid point. Backdrop is true. Which of the following symbols means greater than? Sharp thinking. Chore is the right choice.
You can paint a new costume for a sprite in Scratch.
Good thinking. Yes is the right answer.
What color blocks allow movement motion in Scratch?
Bravo, blue is the answer.
What color blocks allow the code to start running?
Smart move. Yellow is an accurate answer.
Variables are used to hold data that cannot change.
Great job. False is the accurate answer.
Where must you go to edit sprites and backgrounds?
Exactly. Costume tab makes sense and it is right choice.
Which two dimensions does a coordinate plane have?
On track. Length and width is the correct answer.
Programming languages give computers instructions. Clear logic. Your choice true is sound and 100% true. What kinds of blocks communicate between sprites?
Solid response. Broadcast blocks is a valid choice.
What do you call the list of commands in Scratch?
Good job. Your answer script works well here.
What is a mistake in a computer program called?
Smart pick. Bug is the correct choice.
Displays the location of your X and Y positions.
Well reasoned. Coordinates is the correct choice.
Variables in Scratch are found under where dash.
Great thinking. Data is the right choice.
Scratch projects are made up of objects called.
Nice work. You chose Sprite, and it is correct.
Using the Scratch pen feature we can perform.
You got it? Your choice drawing is right.
Graphical bubble that shows a sprite speaking.
Nice selection. Speech bubble is the correct and valid answer.
Where your project is displayed when active.
Excellent choice. Stage is the right answer.
In Scratch, a character or object is called.
Perfect. Sprite is the correct choice.
A blocks that hold value and can be changed.
Excellent. Variable blocks is a brilliant choice.
In what quadrant does the point lie?
Well done. Quadrant I is the right choice.
What do you call the characters in Scratch?
Well picked. Sprite is the correct answer.
What color is the default cat in Scratch?
You chose orange, and it is correct.
Which term correctly describes the x-axis?
Correct response. Horizontal is the most accurate answer.
Which command used to let the sprite walk?
Nicely done. Move is a solid answer.
Which block is used to start the script?
Correct. When green flag clicked is the right answer.
A completed program in Scratch is called.
Right choice. Project is the best answer.
What do you click to make a new project?
Correct response. Create is the most accurate answer.
Can we add sound to our Scratch project?
Exactly. Yes makes sense, and it is right choice.
The script area in Scratch is used for.
Nice selection. Input is the correct and valid answer.
Which programming language is easier?
Excellent. Block-based is a brilliant choice. Scratch is a programming language.
You chose true, and it is correct.
If on edge, bounce. Mean dash.
Smart pick. Go back is the correct choice.
What type of coding is Scratch?
Perfect. Non-textual is the correct choice.
What can you do using Scratch?
Right again. Everything is true is a valid answer. What is the Scratch website? Clear logic. Your choice Scratch. MIT. Edu is sound and 100% true.
What is Scratch?
Well reasoned. Visual programming language is the correct choice. Scratch is dash.
Great thinking. A programming language is the right choice.
Scratch is a
Well picked. Block-based programming language is the correct answer.
How you will get all these quiz questions in PDF books. Format. Solid response. Contact Narayan Chengder on Facebook is a valid choice.